Good morning, YouTube. I want to talk to you today about the intro to Your Grace is Enough. For those of you that play in your contemporary worship services, you might play this song, and you'll probably have to change the key if you've got a music director or your singers are concerned about how they sound or fitting in with the congregation. Often you're going to change the key. So what I'm going to show you here today is a pattern to play the intro that is movable throughout the neck. You don't need a capo. You don't need any special tunings. It's a regular tuning. So let me just play the notes real quick, and then I'll get into more of the sound and how we do this. Okay, so you can see that I made it so it's movable. So if you're going to play this in G, it'd be so on and so forth. You can move it down to E flat if you wanted to. You can move it up whatever key. But basically, you're playing on the G string, the B string, and the E string, and you move it around. I'll put on a little picture of the tab here in a second. All right, so let me talk to you a little bit about some of the frustrations I've got with some of the Christian rock guitarists. Instead of making a pattern, you'll find in most rock songs, and that's my background. I've been playing in regular bands for more than 30 years, so I'm kind of an old guy in the scheme of things. Most rock songs, you never see a capo. Capos tend to show up when you have acoustic guitar players that start playing electric, and they might bring along a capo. You'll find most rock songs, hard rock, and so on, do not use capos. An electric guitar, the action's low enough that you don't really need to move it. You can do these wonderful things that I'm playing now called bar chords. And you can move all around the neck. There's a suspended second, suspended fourth. So if you really learn your bar chord, you don't need that capo to change keys. Now, some people argue that the capo will allow you to use open strings and you get the chiminess of it. So yeah, I guess that's a valid argument, but it's also in the scheme of performing in a band or particularly in a worship service. What are you going to do? You're going to stop the service where you grab your capo and strap it across the second fret? That is really an unrealistic expectation. So anyway, when I am figuring out these intros to these songs, when I run across one where they got a capo, I immediately dismiss the capo as something that I'm going to use and figure out how to do it in a movable pattern. So as the singers change keys, I can move it around without making it too difficult for myself. And I don't have to make the entire band wait while I go and grab a capo or play the whole thing with a capo on the second fret or whatever. So, bad capo. I don't like capos. So, let's talk a little bit about that intro again. So, I got this movable pattern. Okay, does that sound like it? No. So, I got a, you can see I'm playing a, I've got it in the single coil. I've only got one single coil pickup cut on in the bridge pickups. I've got a little distortion. So one thing that I try to do is really make sure that I'm close to what the sound is, or do something that's in the same kind of vein. So in this song, when I listened to it, it reminded me a lot of the early U2 stuff. So I'm talking like the 80s. So it's like The Edge. So the sound that I've got, you want to add some reverb and some delay, and I just cut them on. I'm using an RP1000 by Digitech. I found that to be the close enough, and it's got most every sound that I ever need. So that is what I use now, and I'm the real tube amp snob. So for me to use that, it says a lot about how this thing works. So your mileage may vary. So you can hear a lot of delay there. I've got a tap tempo, so if the tempo is like this, So the key to getting that U2 sound is you want dotted eighths on your delay pedal. So You want a tap tempo and you want dotted eighths, and the dotted eighths will give you the kind of slapback. So you'll know it when you hear it. So another thing that I do on this song is, because in the real performance of this, the guy who's playing guitar is using a capo, and he's hitting an open string that's in the key of the song. So obviously we changed this to F. You might change it to another key. So unless you're strapping on a capo, interrupting the flow of your music, so on and so forth, you know, roll back to my diatribe on capos in a minute if you want to hear it again. So I use an octaver to kind of thicken it up. So I've just cut my octaver on. I've got the other effects on. So here we go. I don't know if you heard that little click. It's a lot quicker for me when I'm playing it, but I cut the octaver off before I start going into the chords. But I've still got the delay and everything on. So that's where you really hear that dotted eighth come in. It's going to really thicken out your sound. So less is more when you've got this kind of edge delay thing going on. So it's going to take up a lot of space. So another little thing that happens on this song, it's right at the end of every verse. There's a it's like an octave that goes on. So I'm doing an octave on the D, the E to the F. And again, if you change keys, it's going to change with that. So let me play the intro for you. Octaver back on. Here it is again. Okay, so you may have noticed I just jumped up to G for that one. All right, now I'm going to go back to F. So I just changed keys there. I didn't have to slap a capo on. I didn't have to move it up 2 frets. I didn't have to worry about where the open string was. I made it recognizable, but I did not have to use the capo because you know, that is going to interrupt your worship flow unless you have, you know, minutes to go up there and get your capo on, make sure it's in tune, so on and so forth. And again, I don't want to turn this video into why I hate capos, but I don't like capos. So whenever you're doing the intros for these Christian songs, try to figure out something that is not going to interrupt your flow of worship, that moves around as a pattern, and everyone will be happier, including you, because you're not going to be on spot while you're slapping your little capo on and doing that kind of stuff. So, enjoy.